We're from AP Government, and we're here to talk about our experiences from the class.
What sort of content will I learn in AP Government?
In AP Government, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. You're going to learn about the U.S. government and a lot of the little things about it. You're going to learn about Congress and the electoral system, learn about how a bill gets passed, like all the little things that it takes for that. You'll learn about why it's important for why a two-party system is so important and how it works. And yeah, that's all I really have to say.
Adding on to what Tony said, we learn about how campaigning works and what each candidate needs to do to campaign and the cost that goes into that, and what they do to try and get their votes. So we pretty much go in depth with campaigning.
Pretty much everything you learn in this class, you can actually really apply it to the real world. When you watch the news, it does help you understand processes in government better when you can apply what you learn in the class. And that'll be reflected when you do response logs, which actually can be very helpful at times. And you really do understand what's going on in the country at the time.
For me, when I took this class, I learned a lot about government because I didn't really know about it that much. So I kind of learned all the secrets of like campaigning and debating and all the ins and outs of government. So it was kind of new to me because I wasn't too familiar with government, but you really learn like all the really finite details of government.
Okay, what sort of challenges did you face while taking this class?
When taking this class, I mean, you learn how to deal with adversity. This is my first AP class, really, and I think the thing that was hardest for me was like the test taking, because the questions are just like very educational questions, and when you get down to it, like it could be two answers that may be right answers, but only one of them is going to be the real answer. So I think challenges that I faced was like studying habits and then also test taking strategies. The big thing for me.
It's definitely a different kind of class. I took this class because someone told me that if you took APUSH, it would actually be really easy. I found myself, I hardly use any APUSH concepts in AP Gov. History is more of an application of government than the other way around. One thing I found difficult about the class is that he doesn't give a lot of homework that he gives for credit. A lot of your grade does depend on daily quizzes where they're only like a couple points, so if you miss like one or two, it can have a really bad negative effect on your grade. And so the thing is that you really need to get your information down when you're reading. You can't just skim over and not do it, because you do need to know like finite details, like that kind of stuff.
Reading for me was the biggest challenge, like Cheryl said, because you need to read to do good on the daily quizzes, and just to get in the habit of reading was a challenge for me. And the studying habits, like Cody said, being able to learn how to study for these tests are a whole new experience. And politics are a challenge. They're just confusing.
I'm going to be honest, the book is really big, the print is really small, and they use a lot of fancy words, so it's kind of a boring book. It gets into a lot of technical stuff, but so that's my biggest challenge. Like in APUSH, the book it's more of a story book, but with Gov, it's more of a technical book, and so you have to really focus and pay attention. There's a lot of different stuff to remember. A lot of stuff that you can easily confuse, so you just have to be on your toes and focused all the time.
I think another challenge, like to grasp a hold of, is like when you learn something, it's about applying it into like daily life. It's not about just learning the definition of a textbook word. It's about applying that into a situation. I think that was probably one of the biggest parts of government, like AP government.
And you can't just forget everything after you learn, because you do have the test at the end of the year.
For this class, how many hours each week should I expect to spend on reading and homework?
Well, for homework, he doesn't give a ton. He gives response logs every once in a while. He will give, response logs are pretty much the only homework he gives, I guess.
That's required.
Every once in a while there's another item or something, but
And it's like 2 a month,
yeah.
pretty much.
So it's not a homework-based class. It's all based on the tests, pretty much, tests and quizzes. So basically, to get a good grade, you got to pay attention in class and you got to read a lot on your own time. So reading, you'll get about maybe 20 pages a week of reading, and it doesn't sound like a lot because you're getting, what, 50 in APUSH, but the book is a lot bigger and the print is pretty small, so it is a lot. I'd say probably between an hour and 2 hours a week on reading, because you're going to read it once and then you're not going to completely grasp it, so you're going to have to read it again.
Yeah, I agree with what Tony said. An hour to 2 hours a week of reading, and probably even more just to read it over again and understand it.
Yeah, you do spend like maybe around an average of 2 hours reading. He does emphasize actually going beyond that. You do get an extra little study book to study from. Put that in, you probably have another maybe a couple extra hours. The class is definitely reading based, and I would definitely suggest actually reading. If you don't, it's not going to reflect well.
For me, I'm not big on reading, so I didn't do very well the first semester. I mean, I still had a B out of the class, but I think another thing that I took seriously was like civic hours, because that really helps a lot in the long run. So if you count that as homework, I mean, you can do from like an hour a month to like 12 hours a month, and I was, you know, kind of like a 6 to 7 hour guy, so that really helped me, you know, boost my grade too. But like this semester, I think I'm gonna really start reading more, because I see that my classmates do better when they read. So obviously, I need to kind of grasp that concept.
Why did you take this class, and did it meet your expectations?
I took this class because I was trying to get into Stanford and I needed 3 AP classes, but I also took this class because, I mean, I'm looking for a challenge, and last year in regular history I got like 106%, so it was just like not very challenging for me. And like I learned, but I didn't learn that much. So like when I got into AP government, I felt like, yeah, I may not do that well, but at least I'm going to learn a lot. So I think it was just like the excitement of like learning something difficult and dealing with adversity. And I also, I know Mr. Wood, so I thought that would have been cool to like be in his class. But I mean, overall, I didn't really meet my expectations because it's a difficult class, but I'm still having a good time, so I can't really complain.
I took this class because I heard stuff about regular government and then compared to AP government, which like they are different. Regular government people have a lot of responsibilities, like way more than we ever get. Would I rather spend time doing those, or would I actually want time to take an AP class and actually learn material that I feel like will be applied later in my life? And I guess it did meet my expectation like that. When I watch the news, I understand a lot more of what's going on. It's like an economics class, I guess. But it was definitely harder than I was expecting. Like I said before, I thought I could apply push a lot more into the class, and it really doesn't do a whole lot of good. But I definitely like it, so I don't have any huge issues with it.
I pretty much took the class for what Cheryl said, because I'd heard that it's a lot easier than regular government. And I guess it depends on how you define easy. There's less homework, which I guess is okay. I mean, I think we're spending our time in this class on more important stuff to be learning than just doing response logs. So I guess it meets my expectations in that sense. And you really do learn a lot about the government. You can see past a lot of the advertisements and know what they're saying, and you can see stuff in the news and know what they're talking about. So I'd say this class meets my expectations, and it's not exactly what I expected from the class, so it's exceeding my expectations.
Yeah, I'd kind of go with what Samuel said. When I talked to the class who graduated before us, they said that AP Gov was one of the easier AP classes, and so that I should definitely take it. And so I did, and I didn't find it to be extremely easy. It's pretty hard. I expect to get an A, but I didn't. But I'm also kind of happy that I took a class that challenged me. And even though I didn't get an A, I think that says something, that it's a difficult class and it's challenging my mind. And so, yeah, I agree with Samuel that it exceeded my expectations.
I guess AP Gov, like to conclude, is really about how hard you want to work. Like the more you put in, the more you're going to get out of it. So that's just kind of like the basis of AP Gov if you decide to take it next year. But recommend it. And,
It's a good prep for college classes because there's not a lot of homework that you get credit for that you really should be studying outside of getting some reward out of it. Yeah, so if you take it, it could prepare you well for college classes, as all AP classes should do.
And voting. It'll prepare you for
Oh,
voting,
yeah, voting.
make you much more educated.
Well, thank you for your time, you guys.